Okay, hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan Embry. I am the brand ambassador here at Travel Media Group. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join me on this webinar this afternoon. I am very excited to share this information and content with you all. Now, at the end of the presentation and webinar, I will be providing my direct contact information in case you had any follow-up questions with the content that I will be sharing today. You can also use the chat feature, which is located in your toolbar, to type any questions or feedback. Now, I will be responding to those questions personally following the conclusion of the webinar. Make sure you do know where your toolbar is. We will be doing some interactive polls throughout the webinar and presentation as well. So before we get going and we start calculating what it is, the true cost of responding to reviews, let's get a gauge of the audience that is live with me today. And in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll and ask the audience, how often is your hotel currently responding to reviews? So let me go ahead and launch this. So we've got always, some, rarely, or none. And don't be shy if you're not responding to any reviews. That's okay as well. You're here kind of learning the importance of that. All right, I'll give everyone another 5 seconds or so just to see if they can find their toolbar and interact here on this poll. Okay, great. So let me go ahead and share the results real fast. So we actually have a majority of the people on the call that are always responding to their reviews, which is great. We have some that are still responding, but just in increments, and then we have some as well that are rarely responding. So this is great to hear that there's no one on the call that doesn't respond to any reviews. So that is awesome. Let me go ahead and go back to the presentation here. So I wanted to start this presentation by demonstrating how reviews and review sites have radically transformed the industry and how that evolution has resulted in growing hotelier costs. So now as the internet began to grow, guests were given channels and forums that they have never had before in order to leave feedback about their hotel experiences. And from that feedback, we've seen the dramatic rise in the number of review sites available to guests online. Now, with the rise of these review sites, obviously, we have seen the number and sheer quantity of reviews grow to an all-time high. With more and more guests writing reviews every single day, the customers' expectations are now higher than they've ever been before in the hotel industry. And with these customers' expectations continue to grow, brands are forced to add more and higher standards to every property underneath their flag. And finally, as those brand standards become harder to implement and eventually exceed, we see hoteliers' costs start to rise. So to recap, we are now at a time in the hotel industry where we have a record amount of review sites and reviews. In fact, worldwide, there are an average of 270 contributions being posted on TripAdvisor per minute. Our customers' expectations are as high as they've ever been in history, and this is translating to even more brand standards than hoteliers have ever seen before. So how do we manage our costs around review response to ensure that in this era of extreme growth and all-time highs, the cost of responding to reviews is effectively managed? Well, that is what leads us to our next question. How do I calculate the cost of responding to reviews? Now, with something intangible like review response, the formula for cost is much more complicated and can sometimes elude even the most experienced hotelier. The complicated nature of this cost formula is derived from the fact that there are both costs associated with responding to reviews as well as not responding to those reviews. So as we calculate today, I would challenge you to evaluate the costs associated with your specific hotel. Let's start with monetary cost. This is the first and most obvious cost, right? It's money. How much is this costing me dollars and cents? Now, if you are currently responding to reviews, those responses are likely coming from one of two sources. You've got your on-site staff or a third-party service. Both incur different costs to the hotelier. On-site staff are salaried employees, and their costs fall under wages. Along with salary and wages, on-site staff also have other costs associated with responding to reviews, which we're going to talk about next. Now, if you're considering hiring an employee, either part-time or full-time, strictly for review response, consider that, according to our data, it would cost the average hotelier $30,000 a year in order to hire that employee. Now, to a majority of hoteliers, that is not feasible, nor does it make operational sense to hire an employee to only handle review response. So what some hoteliers do is they turn to a third-party service to facilitate them with review response. Now, third-party services can be effective, but they also come at a monetary price for the hotel. Just like hiring any third-party vendor at your property, a process of due diligence is required, especially a service that will be representing the voice of your property to all travelers across the internet. When hiring a third-party service for review response, keep these best practices in mind. First and foremost, be sure that there's an approval process in place before the review response is posted online. This is critical. Some review sites do not let you edit your response once it is posted. Second, be sure to ask the process of how responses are written. Some companies utilize templates instead of real-life writers, which can look very repetitive and obvious to the modern-day traveler. Other companies outsource their writers outside of the U.S., causing grammatical and linguistic errors in their review responses. Now let's transition to another type of cost associated with responding to reviews, and that has to do with time. Time costs are a vital component of review response because the hotel industry is a 24/7, 365-day job. Reviews can be posted at a moment's notice, and it's the travelers and brand expectations that they are responded to in a timely manner, taking priority in a hotelier's busy day of multiple responsibilities. Again, according to our data, it costs hoteliers approximately 24 hours a month per every 100 reviews you are receiving. Now, that is a lot of time in a hotelier's world who is constantly juggling multiple operational responsibilities. Logistically, this also makes it very difficult to hire someone in that full-time or part-time position for the sole purpose of responding to reviews. How do you create a schedule for someone to only work several hours a month and spread that time out in a fashion that responds to every review immediately when they are posted online? The other thing to consider when analyzing time costs associated with review response is training. Training an employee at your property can be both extremely time-consuming and meticulous. Remember, these responses are the voice of your business, and they give travelers the first impression of your customer service. And in an industry notorious for high turnover and in a time of record unemployment, hoteliers could find themselves taking a large amount of their time and effort training multiple employees over the course of a single year. So as we see, these costs are starting to add up, but it's the next cost that is often missed by the majority of hoteliers. And that is the emotional cost and toll that responding to reviews take on a hotelier. How many times have you, as a consumer, read a review for a business and saw the responders' emotions becoming noticeably visible in that review response? As a hotelier, how difficult is it to keep your emotions in check when a traveler slaps a one-star TripAdvisor review on the top of your page, accusing you of overcharging them, and you just want to yell in all caps, "It's a nightly deposit. That will be refunded like every other hotel ever." But unfortunately, you can't. I've seen some incredibly derogatory and inappropriate reviews directed at staff of a hotel. These reviews would take a toll on anyone and is extremely difficult not to take personally. But as hospitality professionals, it's our job to approach rude, demanding reviews with professionalism and outstanding customer service. But after a long, busy shift at the hotel, reading and responding to a number of these types of reviews can have an emotional cost, like productivity, attitude, and energy level. These are just some of the emotional costs and toll that responding to reviews can take. So we kind of looked at what cost associated with responding to reviews, but let's take a look at the other side and the cost of not responding to reviews. As mentioned previously, one of the aspects that make calculating review response so complicated and unique is that there are both costs associated with, but also with not responding to reviews. If your property is not responding, then you are potentially saving some monetary, time, and emotional costs, but not responding could be costing your business far more and be detrimental to the future of your hotel. So again, we're going to start with the most obvious of costs, and that's money. The first monetary cost associated with not responding to reviews is potential franchise fines. Now, of course, this would only apply to you if you are a franchise or a brand, or two, if your brand is applying fines or not for not responding to reviews in a timely manner. If your brand is currently not implementing fines, I will ask you to think about how brand standards and sentiment for review response has changed just within the last few years. Now, imagine where they're headed in the next few years. So if you're not seeing fines now, all signs are signaling that it is coming. And if you are seeing fines, brace yourself. For those standards are going to start to become stricter and response times start to shrink smaller and smaller as those customers' expectations, again, continue to rise. The second monetary cost is one that applies to all hotels across the board, and it is far more costly, and that is the cost of future business. As mentioned, we are at a point in our industry where customers' expectations have never been higher. Customers demand not only their reviews to be responded to, but the reviews of others as well. In fact, 78% of travelers say managers who respond to both good and bad reviews care more about their guests. We'll continue to see that percentage grow as travelers' expectations continue to rise. So responding to reviews, it's no longer an added value. It is a requirement for hotels and will cost you future business if not properly addressed. The second cost of not responding to reviews is the insight you lose about your hotel and your business. If you're not responding to reviews, you're not fully comprehending what customers are telling you about your hotel. Although some hoteliers see reviews and customer feedback in a negative light, travelers are essentially leaving hoteliers blueprints and clues for future business success. They are sharing daily what is keeping your hotel in business and what is costing your hotel future business. These insights are extremely valuable when determining where to invest future capital and can expose areas of your hotel that need attention. Now, you can also utilize reviews to determine where to invest your time. Customer sentiment concerning cleanliness can signal to a GM or owner that your housekeeping department could be costing the hotel business and would require training immediately to remedy the problem. The same correlation is true concerning customer service and your front desk staff. So as I did at the beginning of this call, I challenge you to personally evaluate how much responding to reviews is costing you at your property. I'd like to share another poll to see what type of costs your hotel is seeing when it comes to review response. You can, and I would encourage you to choose multiple answers if applicable. So let me go ahead and launch this here. And again, what we're looking at now is what type of cost are you seeing at your hotel for review response? Is it monetary cost? Or is it time consuming? Is it emotional cost that's really weighing on you when you're responding to these reviews? Do you feel like you're missing out on business insights? So I'll go ahead and give another 3 to 5 seconds and then we'll go ahead and share this to see kind of where we're at. Awesome. So we're actually split among all of these, all of these audience members that majority of the time are responding to reviews. You're seeing a lot of these costs come into play here. So with that being said, what's the solution? What was the objective? The objective of this webinar was to make sure that in an era of historic and all-time highs for the modern-day hotelier, a strategy is implemented to ensure that review response is effectively managed and avoids raising your time, emotional, and monetary costs to unsustainable levels. Now, at Travel Media Group, we ally with our hotel partners to assure that no matter what type of cost, review response is responsibly managed. So when it comes to monetary costs, we provide plans that are completely customizable and can be based either off of star rating or review site to safeguard our hoteliers from not meeting brand standards and protecting them from future franchise fines. All it is scalable and very cost-efficient amount. When it comes to time, with time costs, our response specialists have 100% written responses ready for approval within 48 hours. Again, to stay in compliance with your brand and give precious time back to our hoteliers that can be better utilized in other aspects of their business. Emotional cost and toll are eliminated due to the objectivity of our US-based, highly vetted writers, and we provide advanced sentiment analytics and data so our partners can be extremely confident in the investments they put into their properties. So as review response and reputation management specialists, our team provides tools to our hotels partners to help put a strategy and a foundation in place. One of those tools is actually called a review flow analysis and consultation that we'll do with our partners. And what this analysis will look at is really a 12-month trend of where your reputation's at. It'll show you where you're headed within the next couple months and even into 2019. It'll also give you a goal calculation. If you have a specific rating that you're looking to hit, it will let you know how many 5-star reviews you need in order to achieve that goal. And then last but not least, it'll show you the review response, how many of those reviews are going responded and unresponded across all portals across the internet. It also does a really good breakdown of your actual review flow. Where are these reviews coming in from? We know there's sites on OTAs, TripAdvisor, Google. What percentage of your reviews are going where so you can focus your time in certain areas? And also breaks down by star rating. All of these, again, is information that we can customize a review response plan and strategy that fits uniquely to your hotel. So at this time, I'll launch a final poll. I'm not going to be sharing this one to see if anyone on this call is interested in receiving their property's review flow analysis. So I'll go ahead and share that real fast. If you feel more comfortable, I will, on the last slide, have my contact information. You can go ahead and reach out to me specifically, and we can talk over the phone. I'll give everyone just a couple more seconds to get those responses in. Awesome. So as promised at the beginning of this presentation, here is my direct contact information. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We work with large-scale, hundreds of room property, all the way down to the mom and pop, independent, small property. Would love to talk to you about your costs and what we can help you do to manage that. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.